Gods and Semi-Devils. Author, Jin Yong. Chapter 1 Part C. The young earl leaned over and whispered in Duan Yu's ear, "That bad man that hit you is about to die." Duan Yu was quite taken aback. "Really?" The girl whispered, "There is poison on the seal in the letter." Duan Yu still can't quite believe it. "You sure?" Gongguang Jia started to read, "Divine Farmer Clan writing to Zuo." The person reading this letter, he dared not to speak his master's name out loud, so he stopped once he read Zuo. "We give you 2 hours of time to cut off your own right hand, destroy all your swords and weapons, and give up the Sword Lake Palace. Or else not a dog of No Measure Sword would live." No Measure Sword West Faction's leader Shuang Qing snickered. Who the hell do Divine Farm Clan think they are? Talking shit like that. Suddenly Gongguang Jia fell straight backwards. Gongguang Hao, who was standing beside him, automatically reacted by reaching down and trying to help him get up. Zuo Zimu took 2 quick steps forward, placed a palm on his chest and lightly exerted some inner force, which shook Gongguang Hao back 2 steps. Zuo Zimu shouted in the midst of the move, "Might be poison, don't touch him." Looking down, Gongguang Jia's face twitched non-stop. The hand that was holding the letter has already turned pitch black. His feet twitched a couple of times and then all movement stopped. In such a short amount of time, No Measure Sword has lost 2 top fighters. Everyone present is struck dumb with shock and astonishment. Duan Yu leans over and whispers, "Are you in Divine Farmer Clan?" The young girl angrily rebuked, "Pay. Of course not, why are you talking nonsense?" Duan Yu asked, "Then how did you know that there was poison on the letter?" The girl laughed and replied, "This kind of poison is kids' play, you can spot it a mile away. The only people that they can get are the clueless ones." Everyone in the atrium heard her last comment and all looked up. She is still sitting there eating the melon seeds, her feet still swinging back and forth. Zuo Zimu turns and inspected the letter in Gongguang Jia's hand. He could not see anything out of the norm. He tilts his head and looked even closer. Finally he sees that both the seal and the letter has faint traces of phosphorescence. His heart went cold all of a sudden. Turning around, he addressed the girl, "May we have the honor of knowing your name?" The girl replied, "My name? Can't tell you. This is a secret of the highest degree, strictly on a need-to-know basis." Zuo Zimu suppressed his anger and indignation with great effort, asked again, "Then who is your father? Which hero is your master?" The girl answered with a smile, He, I'm not falling for that. If I tell you who my dad is, then you would know my surname, and then could check up on who I am. My master is my mom. My mom's name is even more top secret than mine, can't tell ya." From her dialect, Zuo Zimu can tell she's definitely from inside of Yunnan province, maybe even local. Thinking to himself, in the martial world in Yunnan, which pair of husband and wife that's good at Qinggong could be her parent? The girl hasn't fought yet, so he can't make a call based on her techniques, so he turns to her again. "Miss, please come down so we can discuss this together. Divine Farmer Clan isn't letting anyone through, probably will kill you too." The girl laughed and responded, "They won't kill me. Divine Farmer Clan will only kill No Measure Swords people. I heard the news out there, so I came here in hopes of catching a good show." "Old man with a beard, your sword skills are not bad, but you don't know anything about poison, you can't beat Divine Farmer Clan." Her last sentence hit the nail on the head. If only real kung fu is used, the 2 factions of No Measure Sword and the 8 or so guests here in the atrium might be able to take on Divine Farmer Clan. But nobody here understands a thing about poison, so the whole situation changes when poison is thrown in the equation. The girl's tone of voice seems to show that she is really looking forward to this, as if more of No Measure Sword dies the happier she'll be. Zuo Zimu could not help but sneer, asked, "What did Miss hear out there?" He is used to giving orders and being insufferably arrogant, so he asked this question as if the young girl better answer with the greatest humility. The girl suddenly asked out of nowhere, "Want some melon seeds?" Zuo Zimu's face turned a slight purple. If it wasn't because the enemies are at the gates, he would have snapped a long time ago. So he restrained himself with the greatest of effort and answered, "No." Naturally, Duan Yu cut in, "What kind of melon seeds are you eating? Laurel? Rose? Pine?" The girl replied, "Whoa. What's the big deal about melon seeds? Why have so many different kinds? I don't know about all those kinds of melon seeds, but these are made my mom. She made them by frying gall bladders of snakes. Eating them improves your eyesight, want to give it a try?" She gave a handful to Duanyu and continued, people who aren't used to them think they are somewhat bitter, but actually they taste really good. Duanyu didn't want to go against her wishes, so he put one in his mouth. It is somewhat bitter, but there is a bit of spiciness to it with very sweet aftertaste. Afterwards the back of his tongue feels clean and refreshed, so he picked up another one and put it in his mouth. He put all of the shells on the beam besides him, but the girl didn't seem to care and just casually spits them out. The random falling shells has caused quite a few people below to get annoyed and move further away. Zuozimu asked again. Miss, what did you hear out there? If you can tell us, I will be forever grateful. Because he is the one in need, he tried to sound as polite as he can. The young girl asked in return, the Divine Farmer clan people talked about some no measure jade cliff, what in the world is that? Zuozimu was taken aback for a moment, quickly recovered and replied, no measure jade cliff? Do we have some precious jade or jade stone? Never heard of it before, Sister Sin, have you heard of this before? Before Shuangqing could respond, the young girl cut in, of course she never heard of it before. Stop playing around as if I'm a kid, if you don't want to say it, then don't. Humph. Not like I really care. A bit awkwardly, Zuozimu continued, oh yeah, I think I know. Divine Farmer clan was probably talking about this smooth cliff face of the White Dragon Peak in our No Measure Mountain. This rock is very smooth like a mirror, you can even make out individual hairs in the reflection. Some people say it is a big piece of jade, but in reality, it's really nothing more than a really smooth and really clean piece of rock. The young girl replied, well if that's all, why didn't you say it earlier? Then how did you and Divine Farmer clan become enemies? Why would they not even allow a dog of no measure sword live? Zuozimu sees that he can't get anything out of the girl without first letting his secrets out. Because the urgentness of the situation and with all the outsiders present, he can't very well grab the girl and force her to tell. Can he? He suggested, Miss, please come down so I can tell you everything. The girl's feet continued to swing back and forth again. If you are going to tell, what difference does it make if I come down? And I don't believe more than half of what you say anyways. So go right ahead. Rage flashed on Zuozimu's face, but he quickly recovered and began. Last year Divine Farmer clan came to ask for access to our back mountains to collect some herbs and I refused. So they snuck in and ran into Brother Wrong and a couple of disciples, who scolded the perpetrators for trespassing. They replied, what is this place? The Imperial Gardens? Why can't we come here? Did No Measure Sword buy up all of No Measure Mountain? Words were exchanged and the conversation became very heated until they finally started fighting. Brother Wrong did not hold anything back and killed two of them. That's how it all started. Then on the banks of the Lankang River we two sides got together again. A couple more of lives were lost there. The young nodded, oh, so that's it? What kind of herbs were they looking for? Zuozimu replied, I'm not quite sure which kind. The young girl triumphantly replied, figured you wouldn't know. Since you have told me how all this got started, I should probably tell two things. That day I was out catching snakes for my Marten Lightning. Duanyu cuts it, your Marten's name is Lightning? The young girl answered, yeah, of course. When he gets going, isn't he quick as lightning? Duanyu nodded in agreement, that's right. Lightning. Such a good name. Zuozimu glared at Duanyu for interrupting, but the girl is just getting to the important part and might get mad if he goes after Duanyu, so he kept his mouth shut. The young girl continued to talk to Duanyu, Lightning loves to eat poisonous snakes, he doesn't eat anything else really. I had him since he was born, he's 4 now. He only listens to me and nobody else, not even my parents. If I want him to frighten people then he would, if I tell him to bite he goes and do it. Such a good boy. She reaches into her pouch with her left hand, petting the Marten. Duanyu isn't a complete fool, Mr. Zuo is just as anxious as can be. Why don't you tell him what he wants to know? The girl let out a little laugh, looked down at Zuozimu, and continued, so there I was hiding in the bushes searching for snakes, when a couple of men came walking by. One of them said, this time, if we don't kill all of No Measure Sword, take over No Measure Mountain and the Sword Lake Palace, all of our heads will be taking a nice little trip. I heard that there will be some fighting, figured it would be pretty interesting, so I kept on listening. They just stayed there chatting, saying something about orders from the Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak to take over Sword Lake Palace and check up on No Measure Jade Cliff. As she said this, Zuo Zimu and Shuangqing shot a look at one another at the same time. The girl asked, "What exactly is Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak? Why does Divine Farmer Clan listen to its command?" Zuo Zimu replied, "This is the first time we have heard of the Nimble Vulture Palace of Misty Peak. We had no idea that Divine Farmer Clan was actually obeying orders when they were stirring up troubles with us. Thinking that the Divine Farmer Clan would obey them, then that Misty Peak whatever must be quite formidable. Of all the mountains and peaks in Yunnan, Zuo Zimu has never heard of one called Misty Peak." The more he thought about all of this, the more worried he got. The girl ate 2 more melon seeds before continuing. So then one guy said, "If the herb Heaven's Link of No Measure Mountain can cure the illness of our clan leader, then we would gladly take on whatever hardships that may come our way to get our hands on it." Another guy sighed, "Only the Kid Elder of Heaven Mountain, Tian Shankong Lao, herself can cure this life-death talisman that is in me. Heaven's Link may have amazing healing powers, but I'm just hoping that it would ease some of the pain when this life-death talisman breaks out. It really is worse than death itself when." They walked away and I can't hear them anymore. Am I clear enough on what happened? Zuo Zimu was deep in thought and did not answer. Shuangqing suggested, "Brother Zuo, Heaven's Link is nothing special. If Sikong Xuan, head of Divine Farmer Clan, wants some to numb the pain, then why don't you give him some and all would be solved?" Zuo Zimu snapped back, "Like it would make a difference if we give them some Heaven's Link? Didn't you hear? They are after No Measure Mountain and the Sword Lake Palace." Shuangqing looked at him again, but did not reply. The girl put her right arm under Duan Yu's armpits and said, "Going down?" Before Duan Yu could answer, she's already leapt off of the beam. Duan Yu just managed to let a little yelp out before he was in midair as well. The girl gently landed on the floor with Duan Yu, her left arm still around his right arm. She suggested, "Wonder what Divine Farmer Clan looks like? Let's go outside and have a look." Zuo Zimu jumped forth, "Hold on, I still have a couple of questions I want to ask. You said that when the life-death talisman on Sikong Xuan breaks out, it is worse than death itself. What is life-death talisman? And who is the Kid Elder of Heaven Mountain?" The young girl replied, "First of all, I don't know the answers to your questions. Second of all, with an attitude like that, even if I knew the answers I wouldn't tell you. At a crucial time like this, Zuo Zimu really don't want to make more enemies. But with the existence of No Measure Sword in jeopardy here, he can't afford not to get to the bottom of all this." So he jumped in front of Duan Yu and the girl and said, "Miss, Divine Farmer Clan is right outside. If you go out and something unfortunate happens to you, then my conscience will not let me live in peace." The girl answered with a smile, "Why would you care since you didn't really invite me here? Besides, you don't even know my name. If Divine Farmer Clan kills me, my parents can't really blame it on you." All the while she's tugging on Duan Yu's arm and walking towards the door. Zuo Zimu unsheathed the sword from his waist. "Miss, please stay." The girl asked, "Using force now?" Zuo Zimu replied, "I just want to get some clear answers regarding the questions I asked earlier." The girl replied, "And if I don't tell you? Are you going to kill me?" Zuo Zimu replied, "Well, you have left me with no choice." He brought his sword up to chest level, blocking the exit of the two. The girl turned to Duan Yu, "This old man wants to kill me, what do you think we should do?" Duan Yu flicked the fan in his hand, then answered, "Well, we should do whatever you think we should do." The girl asked, "If he just stabs me and kills me, then what?" Duan Yu replied, "Share the blessings, share the hardships. Melon seeds we eat together, sword blades we take on together." The young girl replied, "Now there's a couple of good sentences. You are turning out to be quite a friend. I guess this meeting is not in vain after all. Let's go." She started to walk toward the door, as if the sinisterly green sword in Zuo Zimu's hand is not there. The sword in Zuo Zimu's hand moved toward the left shoulder of the girl. He had no intentions of harming her really, just wanted to stop her from leaving. The young girl tapped the pouch around her waist and hissed. Suddenly a white flash leapt out of the bag onto Zuo Zimu's right arm. Zuo Zimu immediately tried to snatch it off with his hand. But the marten was just too quick for him. Before he knew it, the marten has already bitten his wrist and jumped back into the girl's pouch. Zuo Zimu let out a loud cry and let his sword drop to the floor. Feeling his right wrist go numb, he screamed, "Poison, poison! You! The little bastard marten has poison!" His left hand grabbing just above his right wrist, trying desperately to prevent the poison from spreading upwards. The disciples of No Measure Sword East faction scrambled up, 3 of them went to support their master, the rest of them all drew their swords and surrounded Yu and the girl. Pointing their swords at the 2 of them, someone threatened, "Quickly hand over the cure, or else this girl will die a most horrible death." The girl laughed, "I don't have any cure. But you guys just need to get some heaven's link, fry it in some thick oil, then feed him a bowl and he should be alright. But within the next 6 hours, he is not allowed to move much, or else the poison goes straight to the heart, and that's not good. What the hell do you guys think you are doing blocking my way? Want to give my Martin a try?" As she said this, she reached into her pouch and took out her Martin. Holding the Martin up in her right hand, she started to walk out with her left arm still around Yu's arm. The disciples have all seen the sorry plight that their master is in. They know that with what little kung fu they have, there is no way they can avoid being bitten by the Martin, much less catching it. So they all just stood there and watched the 2 of them walk out of the atrium. All the guests that were invited saw the speed of the Martin as well. Nobody walked out and tried to stop them.